Check, check, check. Okay, bringing it back in. This past week, someone left a comment on my first ever video, and it became obvious that they were standing at the exact same crossroads that I once stood at. So I figured today, let's address it. Let's talk about how I found photography and how you might find your thing too. Plus, if you stick around to the end, I'll share a few specific steps you can take right now if you're still searching for that thing that you're meant to be doing.
My name is Nolan Matthews. I'm a photographer, director, and pilot based in Utah. After nearly a decade in the corporate world, I walked away to build a life around travel, adventure, and storytelling. This channel is all about the work, the process, and the stories behind it all.
If I'm being completely honest, photography was never my plan. I didn't study it in school. I didn't even really understand what it was for the longest time, despite the fact that, like everyone, I look at pictures all the time. But creativity, that's always been something that's super important in my life. When I was in middle and high school, I found music and I loved it. I played in bands, I wrote music, and it was really my first love. I also have always loved writing. And later, when I became an adult, I've found creativity in business and entrepreneurship and design. So yeah, I think being creative for me has always been something that makes me the happiest. When I got into the corporate world and started my career in finance, that creative spark that I've always had kind of got buried. And I think that lack of expression was a big reason I was feeling unfulfilled with my life. Even then, I still found joy in creating things outside of work and behind the scenes. I played music a little bit while I was in New York. I worked on various business and startup ideas and side projects, but still it just felt like something really important in my life was missing. After my wife and I got married, we were able to take an incredible honeymoon trip to South Africa, and we were able to go on a safari. And people told me, if you're gonna do that trip, you have to bring a camera to take pictures of all these amazing things you're gonna see. So I did. I bought a little travel camera, I borrowed a couple of lenses, and off we went. And going on that trip and pulling that camera out to start taking pictures of what we were seeing immediately hooked me. There was something magical about the process. Packing the gear, heading out early in the morning on a mission to see something incredible in the wild, and trying to get a semi-decent picture so that I could not only keep it for myself, but show others what we had experienced. And after the trip ended, photography became that hobby for me that I just couldn't stop thinking about. I'm the type of person that when I get into something or have an interest in something, I go all in. I mean, I go deep. I will research everything there is to research about the topic. I will just go head first and see what happens. And with photography, when I returned to New York after our trip, it's exactly what happened. I signed up for a night class that I would take with my wife after work so we could learn the ins and outs of the basics of a camera. I started carrying my camera everywhere around New York City and snapped pictures of what I was seeing. I bought my first drone, and I was really just began shooting all the time, but it never ever occurred to me that this could be something that would pay me or even turn into a career. Fast forward to when we ended up leaving New York and I said goodbye to my career in finance and we started traveling for a year. I packed 2 carry-on bags with me for that entire year, one of which was my camera bag. And while the trip was really to unwind and to get to do something memorable, it was also for me to really focus on photography every day. And it's exactly what I did. And we'd wake up every morning and start shooting everything we saw and experienced. We started a travel blog called Wherever You Land, which is now the name of my production company, and shared the pictures on that website and on our Instagram account. And really, it was mainly for friends and families, but eventually some brands started reaching out and asking if they could use the photos, which I happily said sure. And with all that, it still never occurred to me that this could be something that I could do with my life. If I'm being completely honest, when I took that year off to travel, I thought I was gonna have this big aha moment, this sign that said, Nolan, this is what you're supposed to be doing with your life. But the spoiler alert is that never happened. But I did take stock of the fact that I was feeling more and more alive with each day that we were out there exploring and experiencing new things and getting to focus only on being alive and taking pictures of what I was seeing and trying to share it with others. Yeah, there were a lot of signs that this could be something, but I just, from my vantage point, didn't see it at the time. When we returned home after that year off, I started taking pictures for our family's residential construction business. And I would take pictures of our finished projects to help with marketing. We started an Instagram account, and eventually a few of our partner companies started asking me to shoot for them too. And I did, or I'd happily give them pictures for free just to help them. And it was a lot of fun. But then COVID hit and I was stuck at home doing nothing. And my wife kind of nudged me to turn this into an actual business. I think she saw that not only were the pictures starting to get a little better, but more importantly, she saw how much joy it brought me. So that's what I did. I spent the time at home starting my LLC and publishing my website and kind of engaging with people in this world of photography. A few months after that, a trip to Utah would really change it all. My wife and I traveled out here. We stayed in a lodge and I took some pictures, posted it on my Instagram, tagged them, and they reached out and asked me to eventually put together a little winter campaign for them that was mainly focused on lifestyle, but also had a big focus on skiing, something I've been doing my entire life. So I confidently said I could handle it. I had no idea what I was doing, but got a few buddies together. We came out here and started shooting. And a few hours into the first day of shooting skiing, one of my buddies looked at me and said, "Dude, I can't believe we're skiing and taking pictures out here in Utah and we're getting paid. This is incredible." And that's when there was this explosion in my head that was this is it. This is the ticket. This is what I want to be doing. So yeah, that's kind of the moment when all of these signs kind of culminated into this epiphany that, hey, this could be something. And if we apply some of our business experience to this, maybe it could turn into a career. And from that moment on, that's what I've been trying to do. Now, with hindsight, looking back, yeah, the signs were always there. And even on that trip, there were signs that this is something that I would love to be doing with my life. But again, I think it's hard when you're in the middle of it to kind of see the bigger picture. And I also think, if I'm being honest, I was looking for the wrong thing. I was expecting this perfect, bundled up, obvious answer of, here's what you're supposed to be doing with your life. And it doesn't really work like that, at least in my experience. And I probably should have paid more attention to what it was being drawn towards or pulled towards. And that was photography and storytelling. So my first kind of actionable piece of advice to anyone out there is that if you're feeling drawn to something, even if it's just a hobby at this point, it's definitely something that is worth listening to. Yeah, you don't have to take monumental steps, but you can just take small actions. Take a class like I did. Try out a small project. Share your work with one other person. Whatever it is, they can be baby steps just to see if that pull gets greater and greater the deeper you get into it. Don't wait to feel ready. Start small, stay curious, follow the pull and not the pressure. If you're standing at a similar fork in the road as I once was, I'd love to hear what you're considering. Drop in the comments. What's your thing, and what's one step you might be able to take just to pursue it in some small way? In the next video, I'm going to share my biggest regret and touch further on this point of why waiting to feel ready almost kept me from ever starting at all. Thanks so much for watching. I would love it if you subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one.